Hello Minglaba and welcome back food lovers. Sorry I've been away for a while, but now I'm back and I'll bring you some more great recipes on a regular basis. You know, while I've been away, I took a short visit to London with my family for a short break and decided to go for a spot of lunch in London's Chinatown. Now, the restaurant that we chose to eat at was this one called 1K in Gerrard Street. And if you don't know about this restaurant, it's pretty famous actually, or rather infamous, for being rude, or rather the rudeness of the waiting staff. I don't know whether they do it deliberately or in jest, but it doesn't seem to have affected business because it's always popular. Now, this restaurant's been around for donkey's years, and well, at least since the early 80s anyway. The customers seem to take it in good jest. A typical interaction would be something like this. So you go into the restaurant and the waiters and staff would ask you how many people there were in your party, and basically they would just order you to go and share a table with some other family, but they'll be quite abrupt about it. And also they'd be known for chasing you out of the restaurant as you were leaving if you didn't leave enough tips on the table. But luckily, in recent years, they seem to have calmed down quite a lot, and the encounters with the waiting staff is a lot more pleasant, which is not a bad thing. On the day we visited, the restaurant was busy, so we were asked to share a table, and we shared a table with this very nice Filipino couple, and I got talking to the guy while we were choosing what items to eat. And so the guy said that they lived in Spain and he worked as a chef. And I realized that in all the time I've been alive, I've never eaten any Filipino food. So I asked him to name me one famous Filipino dish. And he mentioned that the national dish was adobo. Now, adobo can be made with either chicken or pork. So I got the recipe off him, and he told me that if you added this extra ingredient, then it would take this recipe to another level. Adobo is a stewing method of cooking in the Philippines using garlic, vinegar and soy sauce. The method of using vinegar in Filipino cooking is prevalent because it makes food last longer without refrigeration. This dish is eaten as an accompaniment to rice. You can also get Spanish or Mexican versions of this dish, but they tend to be spicier and use chilies. So without further ado, let's begin with the list of ingredients. So the first ingredient is pork. Now I'm using pork belly strips because it has a good combination of fat and meat. And I'm using about 500 grams, which is enough for 2 people. 5 bay leaves. 1 teaspoon of whole peppercorns, a small piece of chopped ginger, 4 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 4 tablespoons of vinegar, 2 cloves of chopped garlic, 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce. This will help to give the dish a nice dark colour. Now for the secret ingredient, which is hoisin sauce, and it's optional, but if you're going to use it, use about 1 teaspoon of it, and it really does make a difference to the dish. And finally, 100 milliliters of water. And now for the method. We're going to begin by taking out the pork out of the packet and chopping up the pieces of pork. I'd recommend about 2 centimeter cubes or bite-sized pieces. Once you chop up the pork, place it into a glass bowl. We're now going to add all the ingredients with the exception of the water, and we're going to give it a good mix, and this is going to form the marinade for the pork. Once you've mixed all the ingredients into the pork, let it stand for about an hour to marinade. This is what the mixture looks like about an hour later. And now for the cooking. We're going to heat up about a tablespoon of oil in a pan, and we're going to add in the pork and give it a gentle stir. Now when adding the pork, we're just going to add the pork itself. We're going to leave the marinade inside the glass bowl. When the pork has changed colour and the mixture is bubbling away, you can add the rest of the marinade into the pan. Then add in the water and bring the mixture back up to a boil. Then give the mixture one final stir, turn the heat down, put the lid on and let it stew for about an hour to an hour and a half, or until the meat is nice and tender. After cooking the meat for an hour to an hour and a half, transfer the meat into a bowl for serving. So here we have the final dish. Let's give it a taste. The meat is very soft because I cooked it for about 1.5 hours. You can taste the saltiness of the soy sauce and the acidity of the vinegar, but it's all evened out by that extra dollop of hoisin sauce. So if you want to take this dish to the next level, I would really recommend that you add in that extra spoon of soy sauce. Give it a go. Thanks for watching until the end, guys. In today's language lesson, I'm going to teach you how to introduce yourself in Filipino. Now, to introduce yourself in Filipino, what you say is kamusta. That's kamusta. And which basically means, how are you? And if there's any Italian speakers out there, have you noticed that it's very similar to come stai, which also means, how are you? So what you say is kamusta, and then you can say ako si aun. So to introduce your name, you say ako si, and then you say your name. So in my case, it's ako si aun. So that's all together. It's, you say kamusta ako si aun. Thanks for watching the video guys, and I'll see you next time.